For more on this, we have the Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Senator Neda Imaso, joining us live in the studio this morning. Thank you so much, distinguished, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
It's good to have you.
here.
Well, the tax reform bill is still at the public hearing stage. What kind of interest or participation has it generated? And is the turnout of the various interest groups to make an input commensurate with the kind of criticisms it got at the initial stage?
I don't know if I would say if it's commensurate, but I would say this, that the turnout so far has been very encouraging. Nigerians have actually showed a lot of interest in all walks of life. You have retired PAMSECs were there, all the MDAs there, IRS, the Minister for Finance was also there. And of course, the senators were all present. So far, for what I see, there isn't much disagreement at all. That surprised me because if you hear the furor that went before the bill, the proposition of the bill, you would have thought that there's so much disparity and disagreement as to the reform bill. But given what happened yesterday, it's still going to continue today.
So no resistance?
Sorry? Yes, there isn't resistance at all. I mean, everyone agreed that yes, we need a reformation of the bill. And that is the starting point. And that's what we said from the very beginning, that this law is long overdue, that we must go back to it and revisit it. The economy is moving, it's changing, and we need to expand it. And we need revenue to do that. And so these leakages and those who have not been captured within the bracket of the tax will have to be brought in. But it's also done in a very compassionate manner, because there are those who we believe are not able to pay this tax. There are start-up businesses. There are businesses who believe that they're not strong enough to pay tax at this time. And so everything is being done to encourage them and to support them in such a way that they can grow their businesses, so that they also can be employers of labor.
Now, help us to understand from the period the president submitted the bill and what are the various stages that will lead to the eventual passing of this bill? Okay,
so the president is announced on the floor by the leader of the Senate, Senator Kweyemi Bamidele, who will introduce the bill about the tax reform. And then the bill is read for the first time.
Okay.
Once the bill is read for the first time, then it's disseminated to senators for us to review and see exactly what it is that we need to do. And so it comes back again for a second reading. By the time it comes for a second reading, the leader of the Senate, who is the one to introduce the bill, will now give a very detailed account of why we need this bill passed. And we are already seized with information as to what the bill contains. And so contributions are allowed on the floor. So every senator who wishes to say something about the bill is allowed to say something about the bill. And then those contributions are also taken into considerations. And then it goes back to the committee again. Based on what has been discussed on the floor, committee goes back to review it and look at what discussion or what contribution that have been contributed by various members of the chambers. And they will come back with a position report again to the floor. At that point, everything is looked at again, and then it's ripe now for what we call the public hearing.
Okay.
The public hearing is just a situation where everybody, all Nigerians, all interested parties are invited to come to the National Assembly to discuss this bill. And they are all seized with the information, what the bill contains and what we need to do with it. And so they come and then we discuss. They are given 2 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on the situation, and allow them to tell us, having read the bill yourself, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What area do you think we should, amend or take a look at again? And so they all give us their positions, and they give us a paper, a position paper, which we take back individually.
So that paper is key. They must submit
Oh, yeah.
the paper.
Yeah, they must submit the paper, yes. Once they give us that paper, we all go back again as senators, special members of the committee, to review those things and look at what they are talking about. We haven't gone there yet because the hearing is still continuing. But once it's concluded, we are going back again inside to look into those things and see where we agree or disagree.
So what you're saying in essence is that the committee makes recommendations that is still subject to the consideration of other lawmakers when it's brought back to President.
Definitely, yes.
All right. President Tinubu has also again insisted that the bills are not against any region of the country. How has the public hearing, helped to allay the concerns that were raised at the initial stage?
Well, which is why I said initially that I'm surprised that those positions are no longer held. I mean, I've not heard it. But if you look at the bill again, this president was correct. This bill was not targeted against any section of the country. Rather, it's actually a bill that can pull everybody up. It's a bill that can actually expand the economic base of this country. It's a bill that can revive every state to look inward and see how we can help the economy and help our individual states. Because we are federating states.
Yeah.
And so it's correct. It was not meant to hurt any part of any section of the country. Even Lagos, people, if you really look at it, Lagos that everybody talk about, they're going to lose some money because before now, as we speak, if you make a phone call, the headquarters of MTN is in Lagos, everything is in Lagos, and so the bill is paid to Lagos. And we are saying no, let it be a consumption thing. If I make a phone call here, let me pay the tax here.
We have made a phone call.
Yeah, exactly. If I drink beer and it's produced here and I'm drinking it here, let me pay the tax here and not pay it in Lagos, where all the headquarters of most of these corporations are. And I think that is fair, and I think that's something that all of us can agree.
Okay.
So I don't know. We are lucky that cooler heads have prevailed. A lot of people have been able to take a deep breath and say, wait a minute, let's look at this bill really and see what it's all about. And having done so, they can see that there's nothing that is targeted against any section of the country.
So the problem actually